Elevator halts at forbidden floor 13, 2:46 a.m. Nightmare. I didn't take the job because I needed it. I took it because I couldn't sleep. Insomnia does strange things to your mind. After a while, nights don't feel like nights anymore, they feel like something else. Like time itself is broken. Like you're stuck in a space where the world has paused, but something else hasn't. That's why the night shift at Arlington Heights residency felt perfect. Quiet building. Old construction. Barely any tenants. And most importantly, no one to bother me at 2 a.m. I should have asked why the pay was higher than normal. I should have asked why the previous receptionist left suddenly. I should have asked why the security guard refused to work past midnight. But I didn't. My first night. The building looked normal at first. Dim lights. Long hallways. Slight smell of damp carpet. Old, but not abandoned. The kind of place where sounds travel too far, and silence feels too loud. The elevator was right across from the reception desk. Old-fashioned. Metal doors. Flickering floor display. It showed. G. 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. 11. 12. Number 13. Good, I muttered. I've always hated that number. The manager, before leaving, gave me one rule. Just one. Whatever happens, don't use the elevator after 2:30 a.m. I laughed. Thought it was a joke. He didn't laugh back. 2:46 a.m. Time moved slowly that night. Too slowly. The clock felt stuck. Like each minute stretched longer than it should. 2:12 a.m. 2:28 a.m. 2:39 a.m. Then, 2:46 a.m. That's when I heard it. Ding. It wasn't loud. But it didn't need to be. Because in that silence, it felt like it came from inside my head. I looked up. The elevator doors were open. I froze. I hadn't heard it move. No mechanical sound. No cables. No shift. Just open. The inside of the elevator was dark. Not lights off dark. But thick. Like the darkness had depth. I stood up slowly. My chair creaked behind me, and for some reason, that sound felt wrong. Like it didn't belong there. Hello? I called out. No answer. I stepped closer. Each step heavier than the last. And that's when I saw it. The control panel. The button for 13. Was glowing. Bright red. My stomach dropped. There was number 13. There couldn't be. I had just checked. I leaned in. Closer. Closer. And I swear. The number wasn't just glowing. It was pulsing. Like a heartbeat. I reached out. I don't know why. Curiosity, maybe. Or something worse. My finger hovered over the panel. And then the elevator doors slammed shut. I stumbled back. Heart racing. The floor indicator flickered. 12. 11. 10. No. That wasn't right. It wasn't going down. It was going somewhere else. The numbers started glitching. Twisting. Repeating. 12. 12. 12. 12. Then 13. Everything went silent. Too silent. And then a sound. From inside the elevator. A wet dragging noise. Like something was being pulled across the floor. Slowly. Deliberately. I backed away. Every instinct in my body screaming to run. But I didn't. Because then. I heard something else. A voice. Soft. Broken. Help. I froze. Please. It sounded like a woman. Weak. Desperate. It hurts. My chest tightened. This wasn't part of the job. This wasn't normal. But what if someone was actually trapped? What if someone needed help? I stepped forward again. The elevator doors opened. Slowly. And what I saw wasn't possible. The inside of the elevator was no longer an elevator. It was a hallway. Long. Endless. Dimly lit by flickering lights. The walls were stained. Dark patches smeared across peeling wallpaper. And at the far end, something moved. I couldn't see it clearly. Just a shape. Tall. Unnatural. And then. The woman stepped out. Slow. Dragging. Her feet left wet marks on the floor. Her hair covered her face. Long. Black. Dripping. You came. Her voice cracked. Relief filled it. But something about it felt wrong. Too wrong. Are you okay? I asked. She didn't answer. She just stood there. Still. Then. Very slowly. Her head tilted. Too far. Farther than it should. Then. It snapped back. And turned. All the way around. Her face. I can't describe it. Not properly. Because it didn't stay the same. It kept changing. Smiling. Crying. Screaming. All at once. And then. She spoke. But this time. It wasn't just her voice. It was. Many voices. Layered. Whispering. Screaming. You shouldn't have looked. The lights exploded. The hallway inside the elevator stretched. And something at the far end started running. Straight toward me. I turned and ran. Didn't look back. Didn't stop. I burst out of the building into the cold night air. And for the first time in weeks, I forgot about my insomnia. Because I knew one thing. I wasn't going back. But I did. Because the next night, at exactly 2:46 a.m., I heard it again. Ding. But this time, it wasn't coming from the building. It was coming from inside my room. And when I looked at my bedroom door, it was already open that I didn't sleep. Not even for a second. I stayed awake the entire night, sitting on my bed, staring at my door. Because I knew what I heard. That sound. Ding. It wasn't imagination. It wasn't a dream. It was the same sound from the elevator. But this time, it came from inside my apartment. 3:12 a.m. I kept telling myself not to look. If I didn't look, maybe it wouldn't be real. If I didn't acknowledge it, maybe it would go away. But something was wrong. The air felt heavier. Colder. Like the room wasn't mine anymore. And then. Drip. A single drop hit the floor. I slowly turned my head. Another drop. Drip, drip, drip. My eyes followed the sound. To the doorway. And that's when I saw it. Water. Pooling on the floor. Slowly spreading inward. My throat went dry. Because I lived on the 3rd floor. There was no leak. No rain. No reason for water to be coming from the hallway. Unless something brought it in. I forced myself to look up. And there she was. Standing in the doorway, the same woman. Her hair hung over her face. Still dripping. Still wrong. But this time, she was closer. You left me. Her voice echoed unnaturally, like it was coming from multiple directions at once. I didn't. I tried to speak, but my voice cracked. Her head twitched. Not slowly. Not naturally. Fast. Sharp. Violent. You saw. The lights flickered. You opened it. The walls around me seemed to stretch. Breathe. Move. Now you belong. I scrambled back, pressing myself against the wall. No, I whispered. No, no, no. She took one step forward. And the sound. It wasn't footsteps. It was that same dragging noise. Like something behind her was being pulled along the floor. Something heavy. Something that didn't want to move. And then I saw it. Behind her. Inside the darkness of the hallway. The same hallway. From the elevator. It was there. Inside my apartment doorway. Impossible. The peeling walls. The flickering lights. The endless stretch. And far behind her. Something moved again. That tall shape. Watching. Waiting. Come back, she whispered. And suddenly. Everything snapped. The lights went out. Total darkness. And then. Silence. No dripping. No breathing. No movement. Just. Nothing. I don't know how long I sat there. Minutes. Hours. But when the lights came back on. She was gone. The water. Gone. The door. Closed. Morning. I didn't go to work. I couldn't. But around noon. I got a call. From the manager. You didn't show up, he said calmly. I quit, I replied instantly. Silence. Then he said something that made my stomach drop. You can't quit. What? You pressed 13. My chest tightened. How do you? We know. The line went quiet. Then. Everyone who presses it comes back. The call ended. That night. I locked everything. Doors. Windows. Lights on. TV running. I wasn't going to sleep. Not again. But insomnia does something strange. Even when you fight it. Your body eventually gives in. And I must have closed my eyes. Just for a second. Because when I opened them. It was 2:46 a.m. And the room. Was dark again. The TV was off. The lights were off. And my door. Was open. Wider than before. And this time. She wasn't alone. There were more. Standing behind her. Dozens. The same gray faces. Empty eyes. From the room. From the hallway. From floor 13. You didn't leave, they whispered. You never left. My heart pounded so hard I thought it would explode. What do you want from me? I screamed. Silence. Then. All of them smiled. At the same time. You opened the door. Now you keep it open. The dragging sound grew louder. Closer. Something behind them was coming. Something bigger. Something worse. The tall thing. It was finally here. And as it stepped forward, the walls of my room started to peel away, revealing that hallway again, stretching forever, pulling me in. And right before everything went black, I heard one last thing. From right behind me. A whisper. Soft. Cold. You're the next floor. Present. If you're listening to this. If it's late at night. And you feel like something is watching you. Don't ignore it. Because I made that mistake. And now. Every night at 2:46 a.m. I don't wake up in my room anymore. I wake up in the elevator. Going up. To floor 13 that I don't remember falling asleep anymore. Because sleep doesn't exist for me now. Every night. I wake up the same way. Standing. Inside the elevator. The doors closed. The air cold. The smell. Rotten. Wet. Like something has been decaying for years, but never fully dies. And above the door. The numbers. Not changing. Not moving. Just one number glowing in red. 13. The first time I stayed. At first, I used to panic. Bang on the doors. Scream. Beg. But it never worked. Because there is no outside anymore. So this time. I did something different. I waited. The ding came. Slow. Heavy. The doors opened. And there it was again. The hallway. But this time. It looked different. Alive. The walls weren't still anymore. They moved. Slowly. Like something underneath them was breathing. The wallpaper stretched and tightened, like skin. And the stains. They weren't stains. They were spreading. Fresh. I stepped out. And the moment my foot touched the floor, the elevator vanished behind me. Gone. Like it never existed. Good, a voice whispered. I froze. You stayed. The voice didn't come from one place. It came from everywhere. From the walls. From the ceiling. From the floor beneath my feet. They never stay. A cold chill crawled up my spine. Who are you? I whispered. Silence. Then. Every door in the hallway creaked open at the same time. Creak. And inside each room. Darkness. But not empty darkness. Moving darkness. And then. Hands. Dozens of hands. Pale. Thin. Stretching out from inside the rooms. Grabbing at the air. Reaching toward me. Help us. Don't listen to it. It lies. Their voices overlapped, desperate and broken. I backed away. What is this place? I shouted. The walls pulsed. Then the voice returned. This is where you were sent. My heart stopped. Sent? By who? The hallway shook slightly. By the one who pressed it before you. My stomach dropped. The manager. You mean, this keeps happening? A pause. Then. Always. Suddenly. The lights flickered violently. The hands disappeared. The doors slammed shut. And the hallway went silent. Too silent. Then I heard it. That dragging sound again. Closer. Much closer. I turned slowly. And this time. I saw it clearly. The thing at the end. It stepped into the light. Tall. Too tall. Its body bent in ways that shouldn't be possible. Its arms dragged along the ground like broken branches. And its skin. It wasn't skin. It looked like layers. Like faces. Dozens of them. Pressed together. Stretching. Moving. All whispering at once. You came back. Good. We need you. I couldn't move. Because I realized something. Those faces. They weren't random. They were people. Different ages. Different expressions. All trapped. All part of it. And then. One face pushed forward more than the others. Familiar. Too familiar. It was the woman from the elevator. Her mouth opened wide. You didn't leave. Then another face emerged. My blood ran cold. It was the manager. Eyes wide. Screaming silently. You replace. The creature took another step. The hallway bent inward. Like it was pulling everything toward it. And then. I understood. This wasn't a floor. It wasn't a place. It was a system. A cycle. You press 13. You enter. You get trapped. And eventually. You become part of it. No. I screamed, finally breaking free. I ran. Down the hallway. But it didn't matter. Because no matter how far I ran. The hallway stayed the same. Endless. Unchanging. And the sound behind me. Got closer. Faster. More desperate. Then suddenly. A door appeared in front of me. Different from the others. Slightly open. Light inside. Real light. I didn't think. I ran inside and slammed it shut. The room. I fell to the ground, gasping. The room looked normal. Too normal. A small office. Desk. Chair. Clock on the wall. The time. 2:46 a.m. Of course. Then I saw something on the desk. A notebook. I opened it. And my hand started shaking. Because it wasn't empty. It was filled. With writing. Messy. Desperate. And the name at the top. Was mine. I tried to leave. It won't let me. I think I'm forgetting things. The hallway is changing. It's learning me. The pages got worse. More frantic. More broken. The faces, they're not just trapped. They're becoming it. And then the final line. They need someone new so they can move up. The door behind me creaked. Slowly. I turned. And in the doorway. The tall creature stood. Closer than ever. Reaching. And behind it. All the faces. Smiling. Your turn. Present. If you're hearing this. Then listen carefully. Because this is the truth no one tells you. There is no 13th floor. You become it. And now. Every night. I feel it happening. My thoughts fading. My body changing. And sometimes. When I look in the mirror. I don't see myself anymore. I see. Them. I didn't run this time. Because. The moment I stepped into that room. I had already made the final mistake. The notebook wasn't mine. My hands were still shaking as I stared at the last line again. They need someone new so they can move up. Move up. That's when it hit me. Floor 13, I whispered. The creatures' faces began to shift. Stretch. Twist. And suddenly. I saw it. Not clearly. But enough. Each face wasn't just trapped. They were stacked. Layered. Like floors. Each person was a level. And when someone new enters, everything moves up. The lowest becomes part of the structure. The higher ones get closer to something else. Something worse. What happens after 13? Where do they go? I asked, my voice barely audible. For the first time, the creature stopped moving. Every face went still. Then slowly, all of them smiled. At the same time. And one voice answered. Not the woman. Not the manager. Something deeper. Older. Higher. The room shook. The walls peeled away again. And suddenly, I wasn't in the office anymore. I was above it. Looking down. At the hallway. At the rooms. At the thing. And then I realized. I wasn't standing. I was attached. My body wouldn't move. Because it wasn't a body anymore. It was part of the wall. I tried to scream. But no sound came out. Because I didn't have a mouth. Not one. I had many. The truth you don't want. Memories flooded in again. But this time, they were mine. I remembered pressing the button. But not just once. Many times. Different nights. Different shifts. Different people. I remembered seeing the elevator open. And telling myself. Just one look. I remembered hearing the voices. And ignoring them. I remembered the first time I didn't leave. And that's when I understood. This didn't start when I pressed 13. It started when I noticed it. Because once you notice it, it notices you back. Why you're hearing this? Everything slowed down. The creature below shifted again, but now, I wasn't afraid of it. Because I was part of it. And I could feel something else. A pull. Upward. Like something above floor 13. Was waiting. Something far worse. And that's when I realized my role. Not a victim. Not trapped. A replacement. A door. A way in. And suddenly, I could hear something new. Not from the hallway. Not from the creature. But from somewhere far away. A familiar place. Your world. A faint sound. Soft. Echoing. Ding. Right now. If you're listening to this at night. If it's quiet around you. If your room feels slightly colder than usual. Don't ignore it. Because this is how it begins. Not with the elevator. Not with floor 13. But with a sound. A small. Innocent. Ding. And if you hear it. Do not look at your door. Do not check the hallway. Do not follow the sound. Because if you do, you won't just find floor 13. You'll become the next one. And before you sleep tonight, ask yourself one thing. If there is no 13th floor, why did you just hear the elevator stop?